Now that you're tuned up, I'm going to tune you in. I'm Scott Tamburino, and welcome to episode 7 of TunedIN TV. And today, I have the great, the legendary Cedric Napoleon, bassist, singer, writer, producer, and arranger, formerly with Pieces of a Dream. How you doing, Cedric?
I'm good, Scott. How you feeling?
Great to see you. Great set.
Thank you very
Can we
much.
start by you naming the players that you had with us today?
Keyboardist. His name was Bryant Pugh. Very, very good, man. We actually went to high school together in Martin Luther King. And the drummer, his name was Keith Simpson. Very, very loyal dude, very great sounding young man. And we just have a real, real good lock together. You know, it gels really well.
And so Brian grew up with you, and then also the other two guys from Pieces of a Dream. But let's step back a little bit further. You actually, when you first started to get into music, it was age 12?
Yes.
And how did that come about? What inspired you to pick up a bass, or is that where you started? Or
There was a young man in our middle school. His name was Tony Williams. He's a saxophonist, great saxophonist around Philadelphia. And,
not to be confused with the Tony Williams that plays drums from Philadelphia, right?
Not to be confused with him.
Okay.
He's a great saxophonist that taught at our school, Ada Lewis Middle School in Mount Airy. And he guided me towards an instrument. I wanted to play trumpet because I thought it was really cool. However, they didn't have any trumpets left. So they gave me this really, really big instrument, man. It was taller than I was. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? So I took it home. My dad came to get me. I took it home and I started playing. And I started playing and I started really digging it, you know. I was listening to some things. I was a part of the orchestra at that time in the middle school. I started learning to read music and play the bow, and it was really cool. It was really something. Then the guys, Tony Williams, Danny Harmon, Benny Nelson, all these cats used to come and turn us on to some jazz music. And lo and behold, every day I used to go to school, my dad used to play this jazz music all the time. I never knew who it was, but it's very cool. So cool that I memorized it and came to fruition that it was Jazz Crusaders.
Wow.
Southern Comfort. But it was great stuff. So I love the music. I love the lock. I love the piano sound. I love the gel of the rhythm section. So I continued to play. My brother played trombone. And of course, you always want to do what your older brother does. So I continued to learn to read music until I started surpassing him in reading the music. And my brother went on to be an attorney, a great attorney, in Washington, D.C. But he was the catalyst for me continuing to do my music.
Ironically, I played jazz. I played bass in the jazz band.
Right.
Horribly. I remember a Thad Jones Mel Lewis chart called Doing Time, and it would swing in 5/4. And, but anyway, we had a great teacher. And I just wanted to bring up a point that I have a brother that plays trombone. He surpassed me, and he's now a chemist. But anyway, you wound up, and you kept on. You went to Martin Luther King Junior High School, and that's where Pieces of a Dream formed, and that was like around 1976.
76.
And how old were you at that time? Well, middle school, you had to be 16.
12.
Still that young.
I was 12, 13.
So this all happened like.
Yes.
So. But what made Pieces of a Dream unique and different from other bands is you have a nice mix of R&B with jazz.
Yes.
Actually, kind of started that whole, it's a horrible term, I don't want to say smooth jazz.
Yeah, but at the time, you're right.
Right.
You're right. We were one of the first groups. You had your Spiral Gyro back in that time you had Jazz Crusaders that were groups, but we were like one of the first trios that did
doing that type of music.
Jazz,
I guess that's what I was trying to pull out.
Jazz,
that was really the start with a handful of others of that turn of music.
Really was.
Right, and so we know that you got the name Pieces of Dream, from the recording that Stanley Torrentine did from the Miguel Legrand composition, and
Very cool.
Yeah. Why Stanley Torrentine?
Well, we at the time we were thinking about one single dream. One single dream was to be successful in the music industry. That's what we wanted to do. And we made up the 3 pieces. So it's pieces of one dream, and that was to be successful musically.
And that you did. You became very successful.
God has been very good.
It's 40
Yes.
years and strong for the band. I know you've been with them for 25 years.
Yes.
The success of Pieces of a Dream started with you doing the program, the local Philly program out of KYW, right?
Yes, sir.
And it was called City Lights?
City Lights.
Right? And so you would play with all these great jazz musicians.
Back all the guys, everybody that came on the show, we would back them. After they heard the group and they bought their own tracks, they heard us and they wanted us to play in back of them, which was great. It was really, really cool. Jerry Butler, the Iceman. You know,
crazy.
Some of the cats that came in, it was really cool. And Grover Washington was among them.
And Grover Washington was one of them, and he was kind of your guiding hand and your mentor.
Yes.
And actually, you actually got to play with his band and tour with him for at least 6 years,
Yeah,
right?
man.
And then
Yeah,
played on a couple of his
it was
records
really
as
cool.
well?
I did. I had that pleasure. And he was very good to me, very wise, kept me grounded. And he was just a really, really cool young gentleman. I love Grover. He was like my second dad. He really, really was, man.
And not only did you play with his band and play on his records, he also produced the first 3 Pieces of a Dream album.
Yes, he did.
Right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember like it was yesterday seeing you for the first time, or seeing the band Pieces of a Dream open up for Count Basie in Almanesson at the Sunset Ballroom. And
that was a couple pounds ago.
Well, you look great, and I love the jacket. I have to say that we're airing this now at Christmas time, although this will be in March. But Count Basie came to your high school and played, and will you tell that story about how?
He did. He heard the group, and he was blown away. He really was. So we did a few more engagements along with Count Basie, and various other musicians around the world. You know, Dizzy Gillespie, we worked with him for quite a while. The great, what was his name, Joe Williams, vocalist, you know, who used us when his band didn't show, you know. But we had a great time musically, you know. All of the guys, all of the musicians that we were fortunate enough to run into and show us things, they were really cool with showing us the way through the music, man, you know. Do this sometimes. The bigger the band is, the less you got to play, and less is more when you play music.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're young, you just want to go out there and blaze and do what you do and play, but sometimes you have to listen.
Well, how does a young guy at 16 or 13 or whatever, in Pieces of a Dream, you predominantly did most of the arranging, right?
Well,
Or
we all
together.
did. We did the arranging together. Songs that I did separately were my songs. The songs that I did, we congratulated, that we did together.
Collaborated with?
Collaborated.
Yeah.
It was really cool. We spent a lot of time doing that. We spent a lot of time together. That's what it was. We rehearsed 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours every day.
Wow.
That's how we came up
Oh,
with
well, it
stuff.
shows.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go back and listen to those albums. They're timeless. But you did take a hiatus. You did soul searching. You teach.
I do.
And you're doing that now locally in Philadelphia, as well as you have your own ensemble that you tour around with.
Yes.
So let's talk about the teaching. You're teaching at the history of
No, Philadelphia Clef Club.
the Clef Club, and you're teaching vocals.
I
as well
teach some
as
vocals. I teach bass. I teach ensemble. I teach arranging. But mostly I teach ensemble. Playing together, coming together, and sometimes we have to listen to each other. That's what's most
Yeah, and
important.
so that brings up my next question, because this is a show where the slogan is spreading improvisation
Yes, sir.
across the nation. Tuned In TV, where is a good place to start with improvisation?
Listening,
Listening.
memorizing.
And that was one of your quotes that I have written
That's-
down here
that's
that you
a
said
good-
earlier.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
You have to have
You
music
know.
memorized before you can
Oh
improvise.
man, it seemed like, man, we memorized so many songs. Not just memorize the songs, but we memorized the solo on every song. We
crazy.
memorized a whole lot of stuff from Earth, Wind, and Fire. We memorized a whole lot of stuff from George Duke, from Joe Sample, from Stanley Clarke, going from Stanley Clarke to Larry Graham, you know, going from Larry Graham to Marcus Miller. You know, we just mimicked a whole lot of things.
And you start doing
And
those
then
chord
from
progressions.
things- That's right. Then you come up with you. Then you start to branch into your own thing with all of these things included, man. But you have to listen in order to continue to expand.
Yeah, you also said that you have to have music. I'm sorry. Maintaining success is harder than getting there. Staying there
my
is the real
gosh.
job.
Oh my gosh. You know, I'd like to say that we were very, very lucky. At the time we were signed, but see, it's not only just luck. It's work. It's being prepared for the opportunity. That's what it is. Being prepared for the opportunity and working so hard to get there. When the opportunity comes, you're ready.
And I think that worked for you, because I'd say you maintained success. You're a recipient of the Eternal Flame Award.
Oh,
and
man.
You were just awarded that this year?
I got blessed by Coretta Scott King Award in Atlanta. The last recipient was Muhammad Ali.
I read
And
that.
they
So
gave
that's
it
very
to
prestigious.
me the following last year. I received the Eternal Flame Award for 40 years. in music.
And you're still rolling, and this is what I want to talk about right now, is the new CD that you have out, and it
Yes.
came out last year?
I have this new CD that was released 4 months ago.
It's 4 months ago.
Yes.
It's called Yesterday and Today,
Yes.
and it's
Yesterday
Cedric
Today.
Napoleon and friends?
Cedric Napoleon.
Cedric Napoleon.
I have some friends on there.
You have some great friends
Really
on
great
here.
friends like
and some
Joey
gr-
DeFrancesco, some great friends like Najee, some great friends like Randy Bolin, some great friends like Donald Robinson. You know, but I have to give homage to the person that put this together originally, man, which was my brother Vincent Napoleon. He did a great job in helping us make Yesterday Today. Not only financially, but he gave a lot of input musically.
Cedric, people can go and get it on Amazon.com,
Amazon,
Apple Music, iTunes.
CD Baby, iTunes.
Cedric Napoleon, Yesterday and Today, and it was my honor to be able to interview him, and what a great set. Thank you for coming on to our
It's a
show.
pleasure.
Lots of luck,
Thank you.
and we'll talk to you
God
soon.
bless.
Scott Tamburino, tuning out.
That's cool.